friends, welcome into the Early Edge NFL Pick Show Week 10 edition. Can you believe it? I'm Claudia Bellofatto here in the CBS Sports Florida studios, joined by the usual suspects. RJ White with me in studio, Larry Harstein, Will Brinson. Fellas, the trade deadline, it's come, it has gone, and it was historic. The most players traded in season over the last 25 years. RJ, any quick thoughts? I know we're going to go through them as we rip through this Week 10 slate, but any initial thoughts there on the trade deadline?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. The Colts and Seahawks are really going for it, right? I mean, they've looked like the two best teams, one in each conference, at least the most consistent teams for much of the season, and they really planted their flag, and they said, we think that we can compete this year. We're going to go out and add some key pieces. I know the Colts paid a lot more for theirs than the Seahawks did, but it'll be interesting to see now if they can keep it up going into January. 27
players will trade it in season. Quick thoughts?
I'm upset that we have to consider betting on the Jets or make a pick against or for with the Jets this week because, I mean, they just unloaded everybody. One of the wildest trade deadlines ever. And certainly, as RJ points out, big time ramifications for playoff teams or maybe non-playoff teams like the Cowboys.
Larry, how you feeling headed into Week 10 with all this movement?
I'm feeling good, but I don't know what the Jets are doing. Why? You're already going to get a top 5 pick. You're going to get the quarterback, even if you kept Gardner and Quinnen Williams. And with those draft picks, you're hoping to get somebody as good as those two. And they're not old. I mean, I just do not understand what the Jets were doing.
And of course, saying goodbye to Sauce Gardner and Quinnen Williams was that move. Bring in 3 first-rounders. That's great for next year and the year after that, but not necessarily this year. Let's get into Thursday night football. We've got the Raiders, we've got the Broncos. Broncos laying 9 here, total set at 42 in the hook. And it's really a battle in this division of the best and the worst. The Broncos on a roll here, the leaders in the West at 7-2, 6 straight wins, undefeated at home. Will, I'm going to come to you first. Big number laying 9 with the Broncos, but you like it.
Yeah, I'm going to quote Larry's boy Cleve TA here, noted that 31 teams have played on Thursday Night Football following an overtime game. They are 6-25 against the spread since 2000, almost a full touchdown not covering, and 3-16 against the spread on the road. This is just a good spot for Denver, I think. You know, Brock Bowers bounced came back from injury and was incredible for the Raiders, but they trade Jacoby Myers. So now Trey Tucker's got to step up, into that role. It's in Denver. It's a massive divisional game, and I think Sean Payton can probably lean on his run game and his defense and just sort of salt this one away. Bo Nix should have a pretty nice game, throwing down some play action shots to Troy Franklin and the like. It just feels like a Denver smash spot.
Yeah, Larry, like he just said, they sent Jacoby Myers, who was their top receiver at this point, away. They only have 2 wins on the season. 9's a lot, but it looks like you're leading that way as well. Larry?
Yeah, no, I love the Broncos, and I love them to cover against this gassed Raiders defense. 77 plays they were on the field. They give up 6 straight scoring drives to end the game to the Jaguars of all teams. And now they have to face a Bo Nix-led offense that thrives against the bad defenses. We've seen him struggle against the good ones and take apart the bad ones, especially at home. And Geno Smith under pressure. I mean, there is going to be 1, maybe 2 picks in this game against a team that has 40 sacks, number 3 in pressure rate. But a prop I really love in this game is Courtland Sutton over 53.5 receiving yards. He's gone over it in every single home game. The Raiders have been a little better against the slot, but against outside receivers, the 3rd most receiving yards, coming off a terrible game in Houston, only 1 catch, but he had to face an elite defense. This is not that. Give me Courtland Sutton to go over.
And RJ, it always makes me feel good when we're on the same page. You're going with the Broncos team total.
Yeah, it's a quick turnaround, like Larry said, for the Vegas offense after they played 77 plays on defense, 43 minutes of possession. I didn't want to take the spread because my power ratings make this one closer to 7, so I didn't feel that comfortable doing it. I think the Raiders can get a backdoor cover here if they need it, but I think the Broncos are going to score points, even if they go side to side for 3 quarters like they always do in that passing game. I think they're still going to get touchdowns in this game. So I like them over 25.5. I think you're playing them over 24.5. I think either one is good.
Yeah, the fact of the matter is, Bo Nix is one of the best well-protected quarterbacks in the NFL, and the Raiders are getting no pressure on the quarterback, the third lowest pressure rate, so I think they're going to certainly win in the trenches. And yeah, the Broncos, whatever way they want to do it, they're going to put up points like we've seen against defenses that are better. I shouldn't say that as a sentence before I mentioned the Cowboys, but they did put up 44 on the Cowboys, 33 on the Giants, averaging 31 at home, over 31. They've only not cashed their team total once over the last 4 games. So, RJ, I am with you there, over on 24 in the hook. Are we worried at all, though, about this Broncos secondary being a little bit banged up? Pat Surtain dealing with that pec, didn't practice on Tuesday. RJ, any thoughts there? Are we worried at all about the Broncos defense?
I mean, they made it work, last week against a Houston team that was getting back Nico Collins, and that was kind of worried about that spot. Houston had looked good. I know that the pressure rate for Denver was going to be a factor in that game, so we ultimately went with Denver in the game, figuring it'd be a low-scoring game they'd be able to cover. But, if they made it work in that sense, when they're covering Trey Tucker as their number 1 receiver, I don't think it's going to matter that much.
Point taken. All right, we're off and running for Week 10. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're running through the Sunday slate. You don't want to miss it. Larry, Will, RJ, Claudia with you. Can Daniel Jones keep this going, bounce back from what was a messy Week 9? We'll see. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Early Edge NFL Pick Show, running through the Week 10 slate. And we start in Berlin. The first time in Berlin for the NFL, not the first time in Germany. We got the Colts as a 6-point favorite. This look ahead was 7. They opened it on Sunday at 7, so down to 6 here against the Falcons, who are on a 3-game skid. The Colts coming off a rare loss to the Steelers, and what I said heading into the break was just a gross game for Daniel Jones. 2 lost fumbles, 3 picks there, 6 Colts turnovers overall. So they're certainly looking to bounce back. Falcons looking to get a win, period. And Larry, it looks like you like them to at least keep it close.
Yeah, that's what they do as underdogs, 3-0 against the spread, covering by more than 12 points a game. They were dogs at Minnesota, dogs against Buffalo, dogs in New England, missed an extra point that could have sent that game to overtime. And now against a Colts team that has to play on grass for the second straight week, some of that speed gets a little bit lessened, and the Falcons have a very good pass rush. They sacked Drake May 6 times. They had the strip sack to change the game towards the end of the first half. So I think the Colts probably win this game, but I think it'll be tight. I'll take the points.
Will, you're going Oppo here.
Yeah, sort of buying back on Daniel Jones and the Colts after, the loss. And like, look, the Colts were not, I mean, they've been great all season, but they haven't been extremely popular. People are kind of waiting for that loss to happen. And so I think this is a decent buy low spot. Interestingly enough, Sauce Gardner was still in concussion protocol when he got traded to the Colts. But Shane Steichen said today, I believe, that he expects Gardner to clear concussion protocol and play in overseas, which is just kind of a wild series of events. The issue for the Colts is, can they front run? And I think they can against the Falcons. On the grass, yeah, it's an issue. I think Atlanta will try to run the ball as well. And we see Jonathan Taylor get a lead, no Daniel Jones turnovers. Colts get the lead and keep running it.
RJ, Sauce's new team, it's a lean for you.
Yeah, I'm leaning to the Colts here. Even if Sauce doesn't play, Jalen Jones returned last week, and he played well. That was a big piece they were missing in that secondary. And it's going to be a tough matchup for Penix. He's not going to be able to throw it to Drake London in the red zone over and over and get him matched up against the tiny Marcus Jones corner that the Patriots have. That was working every single time they went to it. I don't think it's going to work this time. And so you turn some of those touchdowns into field goals. It's not going to be enough to keep with this Colts team that's going to come in, run the ball well, has a lot of weapons to throw to. I don't know how they're going to defend Tyler Ward in this game. Not many people can. And the Indy offense isn't going to turn it over 6 times again. That's just some magic that the Steelers have. They do that a couple of times a year, but can't expect the Colts to do that every game. So I'll take Michael Penix away from home here, leaning to the 6, getting value after the look ahead was 7.
Yeah, I'll take it a step further and just tease the Colts because I don't love that. But if I get them down to a pick 'em, feels a little bit better. Weird environment. Falcons are a little bit banged up. But if their defense is healthy, they have proven week after week that they are one of the best defenses when they're facing weak O-lines and weak secondaries, which the Patriots do need some help on their O-line and in their defense. Drake May had a lot of trouble there, but I think that said more about the Patriots than it did the Falcons. I mean, up until really last week. This Colts offense had one of the better protections. Daniel Jones wasn't making many mistakes. So I do like the Colts, but want to give myself a little bit of wiggle room there. So I'll tease the Colts down either with the Patriots or the Eagles. And I just saw that Kayshon Boutte, Christian Ellis, and Ramondre Stevenson aren't practicing. So maybe the Eagles is the better leg than the Patriots there. Let's move on to the Bills and the Dolphins. Big ol' spread here, 9.5 for the Bills. Total set at 50. Bills coming off that big win over the Chiefs. Dolphins coming off a beatdown to the Ravens, and they traded away defensive end Jalen Phillips, which everybody sort of saw coming, to the Eagles for a third-round pick. RJ, I'll come to you first. It's a lean again for you with the points, and 9.5 is a lot.
Yeah, and that was the only person they traded, right? So they still have some pieces on defense. This is a great spot to fade Buffalo. Coming off that huge Kansas City win, everything looks like it's going great. The secondary was awesome in that game. And now they're going on a road against a team they're expected to destroy. We've seen teams struggle in that situation, maybe win the game but not cover. And I think Miami's offense can have success on the ground here, running the game plan through Devon Achane. And the pass offense is good enough to backdoor cover if we need it. So I think 9.5 at home is a lot to lay for the Bills here. I like the Dolphins as a lean.
All right, Larry, you're going opposite here?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very comfortable pocket for Josh Allen because Jalen Phillips is gone. Chop Robinson in concussion protocol. Josh Allen, 23 out of 26 against the Chiefs. And what did he do? 8 passes to the tight ends for 149 yards and a touchdown. Well, the Dolphins are among the worst in the NFL at defending tight ends. I just bet during the break, I bet Dalton Kincaid over his receiving yards, but I think all 3 tight ends are going to be involved in this game. So even though the first game was pretty competitive up in Buffalo, I think this one's a blowout in Miami.
And Will, you just want some points here, huh?
Yeah, I think, RJ mentioned it. It is a letdown spot for the Bills. Now, I don't think it's going to be like a massive letdown spot. I think the offense will show up and Josh Allen will start to sort of make, that MVP push that we've seen from him in the second half of seasons, starting this week. He's obviously the favorite. So, I mean, it's not like it's a crazy push. But more importantly, I think the defense sort of takes this big breath after they shut down KC and limited Patrick Mahomes. And you see the Dolphins able to move the football. Buffalo should pop off some runs. James Cook popped on the injury report today. So that's something certainly worth monitoring. If he's out, maybe they throw a little bit more rather than lean into that power run game. And I think Miami will be able to throw as well. So I think we end up getting a track meet and a lot of points here. We clear 50 and get the over.
Okay, well, music to my ears. James Cook not playing doesn't. I don't love the Bills team total because that certainly hurts. Josh Palmer also limited at practice. He's questionable listed on that depth chart right now. But 28.5 points makes sense for a Bills team that has everything rolling against a weak defense, which is this Dolphins secondary and defense overall, bottom 10 in points scored. And we saw the Bills put up 28 last week, and that was with only 7 second-half points against a KC defense that people are giving a lot of respect to. And really it just comes to taking care of the ball. Josh Allen had that 3-game stretch where he was turning the ball over, but that was the only 4 interceptions he has had. Otherwise, he's protecting the ball. It's tough to get to him. As we know, he's very elusive. And this Dolphins team's not taking balls away from anybody, so I'm not too worried about that. Bills team total, 28.5, not my favorite play on the board. James Cook's status certainly important here, but it's a lean for me. Saints, Panthers laying 5.5, total set at 40. First time, guys, that the Panthers are favorites this year. It is the biggest favorite they've been under Dave Canales in his 2 seasons. Just 1 loss in their last 5 games. A big upset over Green Bay. They were 13.5-point favorites. Nobody had faith in them. They cover that one, winning outright. Saints just 1-8, 4 straight losses. They don't know what to do. Didn't know what to do heading into the season with this quarterback room, and now they have Tyler Shuck under center, which, well, doesn't leave them with many options.
Yeah, it doesn't. In fact, one of the options that they used against the Rams, and I'm as a lifelong Rams fan, I watched that entire game. It was a delight. Is Taysom Hill under center, and we talk about all these bad football teams and how they need to just throw, pull out the kitchen sink and just go with whatever. Like the Jets should just run read option with Justin Fields and Breece Hall. Well, Kellen Moore's doing that. I mean, this is a junk offense that he threw against the Rams, and I think we're going to see more junk offense against the Panthers. This total is really low at 40. Carolina's going to try and run the ball. If the Saints get any turnovers at all here, there is not a huge margin for Carolina to cover. They're going to be a popular survivor pick. This has my spidey sense way up. that Carolina is too big a favorite, and this junk offense is going to produce some kind of points against the Panthers secondary. Saints cover, maybe win outright.
Well, they will have to do it without Rashid Shaheed, their second leading receiver, who they sent to the Seahawks for a 4th and a 5th. But, RJ, you don't care. You're going to take the points, too.
Yeah, it's an inflated line after Carolina's upset win. We see that with the look ahead at 3.5. We see the opener 4.5. People were quick to lay the points with the Panthers at -4.5. What is the world coming to in 2025 when you're doing that with Carolina? So I can't lay this many points with a pass offense that has topped 200 net yards once, especially with an offensive line that's beat up. They're especially losing guys on the interior. So I know that the Saints defense has not looked great. They've also faced a very tough schedule. They've had to face the most rush attempts in the league. That just tells you that teams get the lead and run on them. But they're 12th in yards per attempt. So I think maybe they slow down Rico Dowdle enough to keep this game around the 40-point total that we're seeing here, and they cover. They lose by 3 or 4 instead of the 6 or 7 that people are expecting.
Larry, I'm with you. There's a lot of line movement here. It's a lean on the Panthers.
Yeah, I mean, the Saints haven't been competitive in their last 3 losses, and they were only able to hold on to the ball for 16 minutes. That's the lowest in franchise history against the Rams. And Tyler Shuck, he liked throwing to Rashid Shaheed. Well, he's gone. I mean, he's a downgrade from Spencer Rattler. So you hate to lay this many points with the Panthers, but I don't think we're taking into account just how bad the Saints have been. We're still remembering them when they were feisty early in the season, when they had some hope, and now all hope is gone. I'll take Rico Dowdle and the Panthers.
Yeah, I like Rico Dowdle to get it done. And Bryce Young has been protected, too. There's only been a few games where he's been sacked more than once. And just overall, they're one of the most profitable teams cashing, and the Saints only have 2 covers, so whatever. It's an ugly game. I don't want to touch it, really. Jags, Texans. Let's go rapid fire here. Texans, a 1-point favorite. Total at 38. C.J. Stroud was taken out, concussion protocol last week. Still questionable. Offensive line banged up. What do you do with this game, Will?
I'll take Jaguars because I don't think C.J. Stroud is going to play, but it's a tentative play because if C.J. Stroud is in there, I probably lean towards the Texans more.
Larry?
Yeah, if Stroud plays and it's under 3, I would play the Texans because the Jags, they don't really have any receivers left. They did just acquire Jacoby Myers, but Trevor Lawrence against the #1 pass defense could get ugly.
RJ?
If he does play, it's going to get to 3 quickly. That's what the look-ahead line was. I like fading the Jaguars offense, team total under 19.5. I do not trust them to throw at all against this elite Houston pass defense. Only scored 17 at home in the first meeting. That seems like their cap here.
Yeah, I don't trust either offense. I don't really love both defenses, but also Brian Thomas Jr. questionable for Jacksonville. That certainly hurts. So I'm just going to go under. Again, this is kind of a gross slate. 58 is a bit too high for me. Don't go anywhere. We have plenty more football and some better matchups. They're coming. Don't worry, folks. Plenty more to come for Week 10. Don't go anywhere. We're right back here on The Early Edge. Back here running through the Week 10 slate, and I don't know where I made up the number 58, but if you were watching before, Jags-Texans, that total is 38. Much lower, but I'm still going under. Okay, Giants-Bears, Bears laying 3.5. The Giants' excitement, unfortunately, has died down, but to no surprise because their roster is falling apart. 3 straight losses, just 2 wins on the season, and they did nothing at the trade deadline. Larry, how do you approach this one?
The Giants still show some promise offensively, but defensively have completely fallen apart. In the last 9 quarters, 105 points allowed. That dates to the 4th quarter at Denver. So many injuries in the secondary. Basically, Brian Burns is the only defender living up to his paycheck and living up to his billing. So I just like this Bears offense to go over their team total, over 26.5. Early in the week right now, but the weather does not look to be a factor. I think Roma Dunze is going to have a massive game, especially if Deonte Banks has to be out there again for the Giants. So I'm going over 26.5.
And we saw that near 90-point game with them and the Bengals. Just gross overall for those defenses. Curious what you like here, Will.
Well, I mean, you mentioned the near 90-point game against the Bengals. Joe Flacco. I mean, you talk about it like a guy he's not tired of partying. He threw 470 yards and over the age of 40. Just ridiculous. You think Jackson Dart can't do that? The Ole Miss grad? You don't think he can go out there and sling the ball around when Joe Flacco is bombing it? I realize the wide receivers are a downgrade, but this Bears defense is banged up too. I think we'll see a lot of points. And if I know they're going to be a lot of points in the game, game and it's going to be a back and forth shootout, I really want to take the plus 3.5. And I think it's just a half a point too much for the Giants, who may or may not lose on a field goal or a late Colson Loveland 60-yard touchdown.
And RJ, you do expect there to be points here.
Yeah, I want to take Chicago on the other side of Will. They're running the ball well, and the Giants are last in, I believe, yards per rush attempt. So I want to play them on the spread. It's hard for me to trust them laying the hook, though, because you see that defense, and the Giants can backdoor them at any time there. So I'm going to play the over 48. Both defenses are struggling. Like you said, Joe Flacco can't stop him. I don't know that you're going to stop this Giants offense, even with their weapons. And the Giants will monitor them for injuries throughout the week before I lock in this play. If they start getting some guys back in the secondary, might just go with the Giants team total over instead. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, those injuries do worry me a little bit on defense specifically. 4 guys questionable for the Giants, a bit banged up on the O-line as well. You're already down your top receiver, your top running back. I understand Jackson Dart's very fun and exciting, and the Bears are coming off of 2 bad losses. I'm trying not to be prisoner of the moment because they did pick up good momentum in those 4 straight wins before that. I hate the hook. I hate it. I don't love this play, but it would be lean laying the points for me. How about the Ravens and the Vikings? Ravens laying 4 here. Vikings coming off that big win over the Lions, but J.J. McCarthy was very emotional after the game, saying, I'm happy we won, but I need to do much better. And then the Ravens, meanwhile, got Lamar back, and he threw 4 touchdowns in his first game. So if you're worried about rust, it wasn't there. RJ, I'm going to come to you first. Tell us why you like the under here.
Yeah, both teams have cashed a lot of overs this year, but Baltimore's defense playing well, and that started with getting healthy. It also started with trading for Alohi Gilman from the Chargers. That really freed up Kyle Hamilton. They kind of did it again. They traded for Draymond Jones at the deadline. He's going to help them out on the defensive line where they've been lacking since Madubuike's injury. And that Minnesota defense was a different animal with Andrew Van Ginkel back against Detroit. Detroit did not have nearly the success we thought they would offensively in that game, and I think that Minnesota could give Baltimore's offensive line trouble at home. So this is a game where you think about these teams, you think about wanting to play the over. You can tell why the total is very high. I think it's probably the smart play to look the other way.
I will just come in here quickly with my Ravens team total because I don't disagree. The Ravens defense has looked much better, but again, their offense is just a different animal with Lamar Jackson. If you can get 25.5 at -130, I think there's some decent value there. Again, 0 rust that we saw in his first game back. And this Vikings defense is middle of the pack, but again, I go back to the interceptions. How many times are they taking the ball away? And they're not. Just 3 interceptions total on the season. We know how difficult it is to get to Lamar Jackson. They're getting pressure on him, but again, you face a mobile quarterback. It's a different situation. So 25.5 feels like a safe number. I'm going to go over on that team total. Now let's talk Vikings because Larry, Will, you guys are both taking the points. Larry, I'll come to you first.
Yeah, it's a lean for me with this line at 4 and 4.5. I underestimated the impact of Andrew Van Ginkel coming back, joining with the healthy Blake Cashman, but they got Detroit to have 4 3-and-outs, and they moved Jared Goff off of his spot, and when they blitzed him, he only averaged about 5 yards per attempt. Now, Lamar has been outstanding against the blitz, 8 TDs, 1 pick, a 60% success rate against the blitz, but this Vikings defense, healthy, to me, is going to make a couple of stops. And J.J. McCarthy, people are saying he didn't play that well, but there were some key moments. The 9-yard scramble for a touchdown on 3rd and 8, the 3rd and 5 back shoulder completion to Jalen Naylor to ice the game. Those were big moments where he came through. So I like the Vikings to just keep this close.
And Will, I think J.J. McCarthy was his own biggest critic. He was the one that was very emotional after the game. But like Larry said, he had some good plays there.
Yeah, I thought J.J. McCarthy played great. I mean, considering that they kept rolling out the corpse of Carson Wentz, we just assumed that J.J. McCarthy was way behind in being able to run this offense, and that wasn't the case at all. They look much better. I think they can attack, via the pass when they need to, run the ball effectively against Baltimore enough. And I do think RJ's onto something here. This total is probably a little too high, and if it's going to be a lower scoring game where both teams are trying to run the ball and you get a couple 3-and-outs on both sides, then I love the +4 at home for Minnesota and with a guy J.J. McCarthy that this team is really rallying around.
All right, let's move on to the Browns and the Jets here. It looks like this number has swung because the Sunday open was Jets 1.5. Browns now the 2.5-point favorite. Of course, lots of movement with the Jets saying goodbye to their top 2 players. RJ, this is a strong like for you on the Browns team total under.
Yeah, the Jets defense still has young players who can step up after trading those stars. Azariah Thomas is solid at cornerback. Juwan Briggs might be the best run defender on the team at defensive line. I think they can go in and have a good game here. Cleveland's offense has topped 250 yards once in the last 6 games. I cannot trust Dylan Gabriel to go on the road and score 20 points against anyone. So I'm interested to see these guys sell me on that when they take the Browns here. But I like going Browns team total under 20.5. I think, fade them to score points on the road against anybody. I don't care who's on the field. And the Jets are also a great teaser leg in what's expected to be a very low-scoring game. Larry,
sell us.
Well, Judkins is practicing. You're going to run right up the middle against this bottom 5 defense of the Jets that just lost, 2 of their top players. I don't think the Browns are going to need to score 20 points to cover this number. To me, this is 17-13, and the Browns get an ugly cover.
Will, you did a throw-up emoji. This is one of those?
Yeah, this is the throw-up emoji. If this game's on it's on CBS. It's definitely
we love it.
And you should watch it. It's a fantastic game. Tremendous game. Look, the Jets just traded 2 All-Pros, and they're basically packing in the season as if the season wasn't packed in already. The Browns can come in here if the defense doesn't play great on the road, but if they play just middle of the pack, they should generate some turnovers. And I don't love the Browns at all. It would be just a lean. I wouldn't want to bet the Browns. But, I do think that they're just a better team with more stars because the Jets traded everyone away. And it's hard to imagine morale being high for New York, given what happened on Tuesday and all the stuff we saw coming out on social media from guys like Breece Hall.
Yeah, I'll add on to that. Garrett Wilson also questionable. The Browns admittedly have shown zero consistency on offense, but at least they do have the defense. They have the pressure up front. We saw what they did to Drake May. And Justin Fields isn't getting much protection. 7th highest pressure rate, 3rd highest sack rate. So wonderful game to watch. Tough game to bet. But I would lay the 2.5 with the Browns. How about the Patriots? How about them Patriots? I should have said that like that. Against the Bucs. Bucs laying 2.5 at home. Total set at 48 in the hook. Patriots, man, 6 straight wins, just 2 losses overall. Little too close for comfort last week, as we talked about. Missed PAT away from tying and possibly losing to the Falcons, but that's okay. They still won. And the last time the Bucs beat the Patriots at home? Thank you, research team. 1997. It's been a while. And according to Schefter, Bucky Irving, Chris Godwin were not spotted at practice today. But like I said, also some Pats guys are banged up. So injury report's going to be key here. With all of that said, Larry, you like the 2.5 with the Bucs, of course, under that key number of 3.
Well, yeah, I like the over a little bit more because you have 2 teams that you cannot run the ball against either of these teams. And we've seen it all throughout the season. So they're going to be forced to pass, which is actually good because you have 2 top 10 quarterbacks. And I know Godwin and Irving are not out there yet. And, Kayshon Boutte won't, be out there as well. But there's plenty of weapons for this game to fly over the total in pretty good weather conditions down in Tampa.
All right, Will. And, add on to why you like the Bucs. You do like the Bucs.
Yeah, look, the Patriots, you talk about the missed extra point. What about the intentional grounding that the Patriots allegedly induced Michael Penix to do, by simulating the snap count with claps and stuff? The Patriots are winning games left and right and, illegally playing, defense. It feels like the 2000s all over again.
Oh, relax. Will, you're done. You're cut off, RJ. Go. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Drake May's playing awesome. He is just the 4th quarterback in NFL history to complete 70% of his passes with 7 yards per attempt, I believe, or more through his first 9 games, along with 2011 MVP Aaron Rodgers, 2007 MVP Tom Brady, and 1999 MVP Joe Montana. So he's in rarefied air. He's playing great football. But I think it's a spot where if we find out that Chris Godwin and Bucky Irvin are back, then what we might end up seeing 9 yards per attempt. I'm sorry, not even 7 yards per attempt. If we get Chris Godwin and Bucky Irving back, I think this could creep above 3. So I like getting the Bucs now. They're coming off a bye. They're going to be more well rested. The defense is going to play better than people expect against this Patriots offense. And with those injuries to New England, I think Tampa Bay can go win this one by a field goal. Baker Mayfield specialty.
And RJ, that is a good point. If the Bucs report comes out being better, we'll probably see this pushed to 3. So if you like the Patriots, maybe wait.
Yeah, I'm definitely waiting, hoping I can get a 3. I was surprised by this line with the market. Typically backing New England during this run, I would have to flip my ratings on these teams for these lines to make sense. I have the Patriots rated as the better team here. That's obviously impacted by the Bucs injuries. Didn't even mention the guy that might make the most difference here, Luke Goedeke at right tackle. They've been a disaster there. He is now having his practice window open this week. Could come back at any time. If he comes back in this game, I like the Patriots a little bit less, but the look ahead was 2.5. So even the injuries this last week, I don't think it changed what people are seeing in this game. And maybe the market has always expected the Bucs guys to come back after the bye here. I don't think you can lay 2.5 with the Bucs here. I would love to get 3. But Tampa's offense has not played well enough in the last 2 games to be favored in this game for me. So I'm going to take the Patriots, whether it's 2.5, whether it's 3, we're going to have to see.
And if you don't want to do that, you could also tease the Patriots. If you don't want to wait for the 3, if you don't like the 3 or the 2.5, that's what I would be doing. Just because Christian Gonzalez popped up on that injury report with the head, and if he's not going and the Bucs receivers are, it's obviously not a great matchup. So little wiggle room, you get the Patriots up to 8.5. On the other side, we hit the 4 p.m. slate. We got some good games here. Yeah, Seahawks, Cardinals, Rams, 49ers. We're going to jump into all of it. Don't go anywhere. We're right back here on the Early Edge. Back here now, running through the 4 p.m. slate for the Week 10 of the NFL. We have another battle of the best and the worst in the NFC West with the Cardinals and the Seahawks. Seahawks laying 6.5 here. Jacoby Brissett getting the nod for the 4th straight start. Kyler Murray, that situation's a little strange. He's continuing to recover from the foot. He was practicing, but he's still not going. We'll see. Seattle, meanwhile, picking up some momentum. 6 wins in their last 7 games. Will, I'm going to come to you first. You're going to grab the 6.5.
Yeah, it's not mysterious. This is a soft benching because NC State legend Jacoby Brissett is just playing better than Kyler Murray's played this season. I mean, Jacoby's been awesome. He runs the offense better than Kyler runs the offense. And credit to Jonathan Gannon, this coaching staff, for going with the better quarterback. And I think, look, Seattle is a fantastic defense. Sam Darnold is playing unbelievable football, but I was really impressed with what the Cardinals did on defense against the Cowboys. Dumb turnovers by Dallas, but generated by the Cardinals. I think Arizona is good enough to keep this within the 6.5. Jacoby will play well, manage things, hand it off to another NC State product, Zonovan Knight, and we see the Cardinals keep it just close enough in a tight NFC West battle here to cover the 6.5.
All right, Larry, talk to me about the under.
I knew you were going to get both of those Wolfpack references in, Will, before we even started this segment. But I like the under here, 23-20 in the first matchup. And the Cardinals got Garrett Williams, starting nickel corner, and their first-round pick, Walter Nolan, back on the field against Dallas. That freed up Josh Sweat to get 2 sacks, and they hold the Cowboys under 5 yards per pass attempt. We all know how elite that Seattle defense is. You cannot run on them at all. I think we're going under again. Similar type of game. I think it's a tight game, but I like the under a little bit more.
RJ, anything to add there?
Yeah, Nolan was awesome in his debut for that defense, and I think the poor Seattle run offense is going to keep them from covering here. I think Will probably has the spread pick right there because I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. So I'm leaning under as well. Arizona does have the upside to be competitive. Seattle's playing too well for me, though. I think they do win this game, and I expect Arizona's offense to struggle in this matchup. I wonder, with Will talking about the soft benching, do you bring Kyler Murray back for this game against this defense, or do you want to see Brissett in this game maybe struggle a little bit, and then you can go back to Kyler Murray saying, he finally is coming off of a bad game. So I think that might have been a little bit of the impetus there, but I don't see it going well for the Arizona offense in this game.
And they did mention that Kyler Murray could somehow be involved. That's how they worded it. So maybe we'll see him out there on the field. I'm going to go with the Seahawks team total. It's a team total week for me because I'm just not loving these numbers. 24.5. I know they won on the last second field goal in week 4, but they really were moving the ball on them. Put up close to 400 yards, 6 yards per play, only scored 2 touchdowns. I like them to get a few more here. They are one of the best red zone scoring teams, offenses in the NFL when it comes to touchdown percentage. So I'll lean over on the team total there. Now let's talk about a little movement that we saw just during commercial break here. The Rams laying 3.5. RJ, you said there's some 4s popping up now against the 49ers. Rams are on this 3-game win streak. We saw this matchup back in week 5. 49ers had that big upset as a 7-point underdog, so possibly a little revenge spot as well. Are you surprised by the movement? Did you think we see maybe some more here, money on the Rams?
I am surprised by the movement because we saw San Francisco overcome injuries in the first meeting, and they might get Bryce Huff back here to help the defensive line injury issues that keep stockpiling on their defense. And their offensive line could be healthier as well, could possibly get multiple guys back in that game. So their offense also has George Kittle and Juwan Jennings. They did not have them in the first meeting. Special teams are a disaster for the Rams. Josh Carty, if he's playing in this game even, could cost the cover at all, because he's going to miss a kick or maybe two, like he did in that first meeting. So I think I like the 49ers at plus 3.5. Love them even more if you want to keep boosting this number up for me.
Okay, well, talk to me about the Rams.
I mean, come on. I'll take the Rams minus 58 here. I don't care. I'm just kidding. This is a Rams or Matthew Stafford revenge. Talk to me more. Look, Matthew Stafford, shout out to Take Thief, Pete Briscoe, who came out on CBS Sports HQ and claimed that Matthew Stafford's the MVP. Wow, I wonder where you got that take from, Pete. It's from me. I've been saying Stafford's the MVP for weeks. Stafford's played incredible football. This 49ers defense, just so banged up, and they lose like 2 or 3 guys every week. The Rams are the best team in football right now. They're playing like it. It's a justifiable claim by me, and I think they get the revenge against the 49ers, cover by double digits. Another massive game from Stafford, and this Rams defense elite too.
Larry, put a bow on it.
Yeah, that was the flukiest outcome of the season. The Rams completely outplayed the Niners, outgained them by 2.2 yards per play, and found a way to lose that game. And I agree that they covered this time.
All right, we got a minute for Lions Commanders. Lions 9.5-point favorite on the road. Larry, I'll come right back to you. Talk to me about Lions.
I think I was on Detroit a week early. You need to wait for them to lose because then Dan Campbell is 12-0 against the number in the following game, taking on a Commanders defense that will have Frankie Louvu, but otherwise there's nothing there. They gave up over 12 yards of play to the Seahawks in the first half on Monday Night Football.
Well,
Sunday.
Lions off a loss? I mean, this is like the new Andy Reid off a bye. Give me the Lions.
RJ, what are you thinking?
I like the under here. Lions offensive line had a bunch of injuries against Minnesota. Possible both offensive tackles could miss this one and make the run game a priority, keep the clock moving, and not score as many points as people expect.
I'll probably live bet this game, but I will stay and try and get a better line on the Lions. But Jahmyr Gibbs bounced back. He was quieted last week. This is not the same threat that the Vikings brought to him. They're allowing the 7th most attempts, over 124 rush yards a game. So look out for those props on Jahmyr Gibbs. When we come back, we have ripped through this Week 10 slate, but we still have Sunday Night Football, and we still have Monday Night Football. And after all that, we'll give you our best bets. Back here on the Early Edge, wrapping up Week 10 in the NFL with Sunday Night Football and Monday Night Football. And we're getting 3 points with the Steelers on the road, visiting a Chargers squad that really has no consistency. But I think the big question here, Larry, is which defense are we going to see from the Steelers? Because they look terrible for the majority of the season. And then, of course, we saw the Week 9 upset over the Colts. They forced 6 turnovers. They made life hell for Daniel Jones. Which defense do we see here?
Well, they're still number 8 in pressure rate, and I think with the home crowd behind them, yes, the home crowd in LA favoring the Steelers, I think they're going to put some pressure on Justin Herbert, who will not have Joe Alt. And when they lost Rashawn Slater at the beginning of the year, they couldn't afford to lose Joe Alt. They've yet to cover a game that Joe Alt has not started and finished. And this is another game where they won't have either of their projected starting tackles. So I think this is going to be a tight game, but you're giving me a full field goal with the team that is a little bit healthier. I'm going to take it.
Yeah, and I will say we talked about this during commercial break, and the loss of Joe Alt made me immediately think Justin Herbert over rush yards, because I think he'll get there with the passing yards as well, leading the league in passing, but he's also right there when it comes to quarterback rush attempts and scrambles, and he's probably going to be running out of sheer necessity. Will, you're going to grab the 3 as well with the Steelers.
Yeah, you remember that Sunday night game when they were building SoFi Stadium and the Chargers were playing that tiny little soccer stadium? It was a sea of terrible towels. And like there were so many Steelers fans, they started their own version of Renegade in the stands, like without the backing of the PA or like they just sang it at the start of the fourth quarter. It's gonna be a Steelers home game. And the Joe Alt thing is massive. Not only do the numbers back it up with Joe Alt, but the eye test makes it very, very clear. When he gets hurt, like the second he gets hurt, that Chargers offense falls apart. They were on their way to steamrolling Tennessee, and Tennessee got right back in the game once Alt went down. This is a really bad matchup against the Steelers defense that, yes, it's been terrible, but has flashed at times. I like the Steelers to cover and possibly win this game outright.
RJ, how'd you get to the under?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, settle down. Like Trevor Penning is on the roster now. They're going to be fine, okay? You know, first round bust for the Saints. You know, I hope he's not going to play tackle for them. I hope they plan to play him inside. But the Chargers defense has been excellent the last two games. You said the Titans kept up in that game. That was clearly a defensive special teams kind of thing. Defense played very well in that game. And Pittsburgh's offensive scoring has been boosted by takeaways multiple times this year. We saw it in the Patriots game, and then we saw it last week. Justin Herbert is not going to turn the ball over 6 times. I can guarantee you that. He's very much a better player at protecting the ball than Daniel Jones is. Chargers offense does have to worry about those offensive tackle injuries, though. So I do think this is going to be an under game. It's going to be hard to move the ball for both offenses, really. And we're going to get to under 45 pretty easily.
All right, a total that's similar at 44 is for Monday Night Football when we get the Eagles and we get the Packers. The Packers laying 2.5, despite coming off that loss to Carolina as 13.5-point favorites. They also lost Tucker Kraft in the process, so now they're down Tucker Kraft, Reed, and Matthew Golden. And the Eagles are coming off a bye. They won back-to-back games before that, 6-2 on the season. Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown are questionable, but you would think after the bye they're good to go. Yet we're still getting points. Hasn't got to 3, which is not surprising with the Packers because everybody's going to be on the Eagles then. Will, talk to me about why you like the Packers, though, after all of that.
Well, I mean, I think this is one, like we're buying low on the Packers here, right? This is still a good Packers team that can be very explosive on offense and can run the ball quite effectively. This Green Bay team has really played down to its competition all year. They lose at Cleveland. They lose to Carolina at home. And I think they'll elevate their game coming off that loss at home. Monday Night Football in Lambeau Field. The Eagles coming off a bye is bothersome because of that. But just teams have been really good off the bye this year, particularly against the spread. But if I'm laying less than a field goal, I'll back a Packers bounce back here because, again, we're just buying really low after an embarrassing loss by Green Bay to Carolina.
RJ, it's a lean for you on the Eagles.
Yeah, I don't know that we're buying low on the Packers because I don't know what Packers team is going to show up. They've been so inconsistent that they don't always play up to where I have them rated, and that is as a Super Bowl contender. I think the value is on the Philadelphia side because I think we might be buying low on Philadelphia. There's a lot of potential for them to be better than the rating I have them at when you get Jalen Phillips on the edge, when Nolan Smith might come back this week on the edge, and now Brandon Graham has had 2 weeks to get through the bye, get his conditioning up. That defensive end position that's been such a trouble for them could go into a strength. So I think that the power ratings line says that it's right here with my power ratings. I still think I would like the Eagles. I think they're going to win this game.
Yeah, and I'm just going to add a little insurance there. I do like the Eagles, but I'm going to take it up to 8.5. Like I said, the Colts or the Patriots, both good teaser legs there. I just think as good as Jordan Love is, being down the majority of your top weapons against a pass rush that has gotten better in general and now brought in talent, don't love it. Larry, tell me why you like the under.
Yeah, looking at the under, 30-degree temperatures, 2 teams that are bottom 8 in pace, and all the offensive pieces that you mentioned that are either out or questionable.
All right, let's get to best bets. Quick recap on last week and just see how we're all doing here. And okay, girl power, let's go. 6-3, Claude. Catch up, boys. I'm just kidding. RJ won, Will won. Larry's going to bounce back this week with what play? Larry, what do you got?
Cortland Sutton over 53.5 receiving yards against the Raiders' bad secondary. I'm 3-6. I can still finish 16-6.
Yes, you can. Will?
I'm going to take the Giants up, catching 3.5 at the Bears. We should see a shootout here. A lot of points. If you're giving me a lot of points, I want the variance of the hook on that field goal. And I think the Giants are absolutely live to win this game outright.
RJ?
Browns team total under 20.5. I think the young Jets defenders step up in this game. Do not trust Dylan Gabriel on the road.
All right, I'm going to run it back with another teaser. Go Colts down to a pick'em. Patriots up to 8.5. You can catch that at -125 if you shop around. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We are done with Week 10. Ran through the slate. We do this every week. Don't miss it. And don't forget to sign up for the Early Edge and SportsLine Online. You can scan that QR code right now and use promo code WINNERS for 60% off. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you next time.